Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Yeah. So, Mindful Mondays, 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And we're outside on our porch. It's a beautiful day. We already had the opportunity to watch a beaver out in the water this morning. And that was kind of fun, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was out playing with the dogs earlier, so all kinds of fun things already going on. So what are we talking about today?
Well, in lieu of our focus for the month of May of mindfulness, today we're going to talk about mindful eating. And I know, we're all busy, so sometimes we catch ourselves eating on the go, or of course, probably during your day, especially if you're at work, you're eating in the middle of things, or if you're home with your children, you're probably eating a
what
snack
they didn't
here
eat.
and a snack there in the middle of the chaos.
Yeah.
So it's just about bringing a mindfulness to eating and really being aware of what you're eating
And why
you're eating it, and how it makes you feel. So again, it's back to that awareness piece.
Yeah. So I took a class about 100 years ago. It was a really long time ago. I don't know. And it was just about eating awareness. They didn't call it mindful eating way back then, but it was eating awareness. And what he would do is he would put 4 or 5 different things in front of you, and he would have you just eat one of them, and then just put one in your mouth and feel it and be present with it and think about it. And then at some point you go, okay, I've had enough of that. I'm going to do something else. And over the years, I've played with this idea quite a lot. And it turns out, if you're really present with your food, your body and your mind will tell you when you're done. Now, if you're not present with your food and you're trying to fill a hole in your soul with food, or if you're just eating because you're bored, it doesn't work as well, right? So you got to be mindful and present with your food. And it's not about willpower. It's not about, okay, I've had enough, I'm stopping now. No, it's about your body gently saying, hey, guess what? I'm full. I'm okay.
Yeah, it's about being present.
Yeah. Yeah. So this idea of being present, it just seems silly on some level, but it isn't. It's really powerful. It's profoundly powerful. And we've forgotten this art, right? So it's as simple as, here's my cup of tea, and it's warm, it feels nice, and there's this contrast between the slight chilliness, it's not cold by any means, but slight chilliness in the air, and this beautiful warm cup of green tea, and the aroma of it. Yours is coffee, the vile swill. Just being present, totally present with it. Just immerse yourself in this sensory experience.
I think that's why I love my morning coffee so much, because it's time I take to be present. And I don't think it would matter what's in the cup. I think initially it would, because probably there's a little bit of withdrawals I'd go through.
Yeah.
But it's just taking those moments to be present. And if we're eating on the run and we're always eating in fight or flight, it disrupts our ability to digest foods properly. And you could be doing everything right. You could be eating the healthiest of foods, and then you're like, why am I not losing weight, or why am I still having all these GI symptoms when I eat?
Or aches or pains.
Yeah, like I've taken away everything. I can't take away anything else. I can eat 3 foods. And really, like, how are we eating? How are you eating those 3 foods? Because if you're eating those 3 foods in fight or flight, they're still going to give you issues. You can have the cleanest diet, but if you're eating in fight or flight, have leaky gut, you're not going to properly digest and absorb the food you're eating. So this idea of mindfulness eating, or being present with our meals, it's a really big deal.
It is. There are 3 parts to the autonomic nervous system. We commonly talk about the sympathetic nervous system, which is called fight or flight, the parasympathetic nervous system, which is called rest and digest and repair, better to eat when you're in rest and digest than in fight or flight. And then the third part is the enteric nervous system, which is the nervous system of the guts. It's got its own thing, and it's important to think about where you are in that triad of fight or flight, right? Or rest and digest and repair, or, well, the autonomic or the enteric kind of tries to take care of itself, but it can't if you're in fight or flight. So when you're in fight or flight, when you're hurried, when you're running, when everything's a day late and a dollar short, you're shunting blood away from your gut. We've talked about this before, right? You're shunting blood away from your gut. So you're functionally malnourished even though you're eating great food. You're functionally immune compromised even though you're otherwise healthy.
Yeah, we see this a lot in the clinic. We have patients come in that are sick that have these clean diets, and they're just so frustrated by that.
They've been taking probiotics for 10 years, and we do a test, and they have like none of the species that they're taking are growing in their gut.
Sticking.
Nothing sticks.
Because the environment isn't right for it.
Right.
I mean, you can plant plants all day long, but if you don't water them, or if you plant
Put 'em in
one
acidic
that
soil
loves sun, that's supposed to have 6 hours of sun a day, and you have it in the shade, it's not going to flourish. So you really need to know how things flourish, and they can't flourish in that state of fight or flight.
Yeah, absolutely. So this notion of mindful eating is not just some new age thing, right? This is serious for our health. You know, we evolved in community, usually small bands, usually less than 100 people, far less than 100 people in most cases. And we ate in community, we hunted in community, we gathered in community, we worked together in terms of, think about getting a long stick and harvesting a couple of yak bladders and putting them on the ends of the stick and filling them with water and putting them on our shoulders and walking back up the hill to camp. Yeah. We did all of this in community, and now we do everything, nearly everything, in isolation.
Segmented, yeah.
Yeah. Even, we go from, well, I have to be work early, so I'm getting up early and I'm trying to make some breakfast for the kids and throw it on the table, and then I got to blow out the door, and I've got to get in my car, and I've got to do 30 minutes of stressful driving through the traffic and yada, 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 right? It's this big thing.
Good morning, Carol. She said, I love the analogy of how we care for plants. That is so relatable. Yeah, it's really true. We should think of ourselves as we do our plants, right? Yeah,
people take better care of their cars than they do themselves most of the time.
And this isn't new age. We've just simply evolved out of it. And we're just trying to bring back that awareness of, doing things unconsciously to doing them consciously again. And just, being conscious of what we're doing and how we're eating, not just what we're eating. So it's so much more than it's also being mindful though of those triggers that why we're eating. So why am I going to grab
chocolate chip cookies?
Well, for me it's chips and queso.
Chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah. Queso. I love queso.
It's probably a better choice, queso, than chocolate chip cookies.
I don't know. But anyway, so it's why am I doing that? Okay, a lot of times it's because I need, it's comforting, right? Like we grew up, we're raised, when we eat, like our mom holds us close, it's comforting to us. So food is definitely comfort. Yeah. And I guess we just have to be careful how much we're relying on food to bring us comfort. And there are other things that we can do even while we're eating to bring in the comfort. So like starting each meal with everyone sitting around the table, take some deep cleansing breaths and go around and say what you're grateful for.
Yeah,
I used to do
circle.
that when the kids were young, and we would do that before every meal. We just say what we're grateful for the day. Yeah. And it just really, it brings you present. It brings you even back to just the presence of your day, not last week or next month. And, gives you time to slow down and talk. And then when you're talking and having conversations about your day, it also naturally slows you down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's fun to hear what the kids are grateful for, because they're usually grateful for something that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
You know, like their Nintendo game or their something that's like, okay, good. I'm glad you're grateful for that, but it's
Or sometimes it would be like, I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for my food. It's like, no, honey, I want you to think about your day and think about what you're thankful for in today. And of course you're thankful for your family and your food, and I love that, but let's get more creative. So, it's a little encouraging sometimes. But
yeah. So what you're telling me is next time I think I'm hungry, I should really just get a hug from you?
Sure.
All right. So next time I'm hungry.
Unless you're hangry, then just get food first.
Yeah.
Because there's a point where you do need to eat, and it's not just,
yeah. But that is one of the things that we talk about, actually, and this falls into mindful eating, and it is, you come home from work. Let's just assume it's a spouse couple. You come home from work, and it's hard to shake the day off sometimes. So embrace. Just embrace for like too long, right? Like a minute. Embrace. And then that is sort of the demarcation between that was the work day and now this is the evening. And so we've had this sort of ritualistic demarcation, and now whatever your thing is, right? But for us, it's let's go into the kitchen and let's cook together. And usually we cook together, not always, but
not always. Sometimes I cook and he's doing other things, and sometimes he cooks and I'm doing other things. So.
Yeah, but often it's together, and we try to make it a communal thing, right? We try to talk when we're doing it. Sometimes we put some music on, whatever. So try to make this ritual, because again, that's another piece of our sort of historical selves.
Yeah, it's
meaning,
getting your body ready to consume the food. So taking those moments to be present and to really put the, made with love. I love that.
Yeah, made with love. Made with argument. That's
I try, if we're arguing or something negative is going on when I'm preparing food, or whether I'm preparing food or preparing IVs at the clinic, I always try, I'm in a state of, joy
service.
And love and service, and I'm putting all that good energy into the IVs that we prepare or the food I prepare, and make sure there's no animosity or other things mixed in there. That can sometimes happen.
What does Carol have to say there? I can't quite read it.
That embrace is even more important when you also spend all day. It's very true, Carol. It's very true, because it's really hard to separate that sometimes. So
that's really true.
And I would say, we're together at work all day long, but I think I just said over the weekend, we need to spend more time together. And I didn't mean it like presence. I meant like presence. Like, I was like, we need to like actually sit down and talk more and be more present with each other. Now that's probably a whole nother conversation.
That's a whole nother mindful conversation for another day. So
mindful relationships.
Yeah. So we're trying to keep these short and sweet. It's about 15 minutes in.
We're heading to the office here.
So,
we're all ready to go. So.
We are all ready to go. So we will
talk to you. This would be
a
better background than a bookshelf,
the
or
wall
something.
or something.
Yeah.
So anyway, we will see you next Monday. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it so much.
Yeah, have a wonderful week, and really, take those moments. Take some deep breaths on your way to work this morning, before your lunch break, during lunch. Enjoy.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.